Hello everyone, welcome back to the Power Within channel, the place where we explore ancient wisdom to improve our lives today. In today's video, we're diving deep into the timeless philosophy of Stoicism. Stoicism isn't just a historical relic, it's a practical guide to living a fulfilling life in the modern world. So, grab a cup of tea, sit back, and let's explore some Stoic advice that can truly make a difference in your life. Rule 1. Distinguish between what you can and cannot control. The Stoics believe that much of our suffering comes from trying to control things beyond our grasp. The key is to focus on our thoughts, actions, and reactions, as these are the only things truly within our control. Working within our sphere of control, we are naturally free, independent, and strong. Beyond that sphere, we are weak, limited, and dependent. If you pin your hopes on things outside your control, taking upon yourself things which rightfully belong to others, you are liable to stumble, fall, suffer, and blame both gods and men. When we focus on outside events, we're spending our time and energy trying to control the things in life we don't have full control over. In doing so, we risk becoming frustrated, ineffective, and our well-being becomes less stable. Rule number 2. Embrace adversity with a Stoic mindset. Life is filled with challenges, but how we perceive and react to them is within our control. Stoicism teaches us to view difficulties as opportunities for growth, to face them with courage, and to learn from every experience. Whatever stands in our way does not have to be seen as an obstacle, but a new way. With this perspective, we lessen the burden of the things ahead of us that seem to be obstructions, and we see them as a path forward, often with useful lessons, helpful experiences, and difficulties that can make us stronger people. Rule number 3. Live in accordance with nature. Stoicism encourages us to align our lives with the natural order of the universe. By living virtuously and in harmony with nature, we find a sense of purpose and meaning. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The Stoics believed that one of the main sources of suffering is caused not by what happens around us, but how we interpret what happens around us. For example, if we're stuck in traffic, there are people who will complain and work themselves into a state of suffering because they expect to be moving, not standing still. However, it is not the traffic that is causing them to suffer. It's the belief that they should be moving, the expectation that they shouldn't encounter traffic, and the belief that arriving late to whatever they are driving to will be a terrible thing, all of which adds to the experience of suffering. Rule number 4. See things as they are. Stoicism teaches us to see the world without the distortions of our emotions. By perceiving reality objectively, we can respond more effectively to challenges and make better decisions. If we let our thoughts drift away, our actions become mindless, we stumble into folly and act in the opposite way of what we think is best. And it's exactly in the moments when we stumble when mindfulness is needed most. A consciousness of wrongdoing is the first step to salvation, Seneca says. You have to catch yourself doing it before you can correct it. Attention, prosoc, is the fundamental Stoic spiritual attitude, author Pierre Hadot explains. It is a continuous vigilance and presence of mind, self-consciousness which never sleeps, and a constant tension of the spirit. Thanks to this attitude, the philosopher is fully aware of what he does at each instant, and he wills his actions fully. Epictetus says it's not possible to be faultless, but we can try, and we must be content if by never remitting this attention, we shall escape at least a few errors. Rule number 5. Develop an inner fortress. Stoicism encourages us to build mental resilience, creating a fortress within ourselves that is impervious to external circumstances. This involves developing a strong and rational mind that can withstand life's storms. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for? the things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? So you were born to feel nice, instead of doing things and experiencing them. Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants and spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can? And you're not willing to do your job as a human being. Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? You don't love yourself enough, or you love your nature too, and what it demands of you. Rule number 6, always test your impressions. If something happens, we get an impression about it, often take this impression as the truth, and then react accordingly to that impression. Many times, this reaction happens automatically without us thinking about it. Mindlessly going with our default impressions, however, holds the risk of getting jerked around by outside events. We become dependent on what happens to us. Fortunately, there's a small gap between what happens and your reaction to it. Your power lies in that gap. The gap means that you have the chance to withhold your approval of the first impression, test it, and then choose your voluntary reaction or non-reaction. This is immensely powerful and enables you to think before you react. It hands you the key to your ideal behavior, as you can choose to act in a wise, serene, and forgiving way. The true Stoic must avoid rashness in his actions. As Epictetus says, "Be not swept off your feet by the vividness of the impression, but say, wait for me a little, allow me to see who you are, and what you are an impression of, allow me to put you to the test." If you're able to avoid rashness in your actions and have the necessary self-discipline, then you become the person who's able to say no to the things others can't resist, and able to do the things others dread doing. Rule 7. Take responsibility. Stoicism teaches that we're very much responsible for our own flourishing. Accepting this responsibility will improve our chances of attaining a happy and meaningful life. Passing this responsibility and taking the victim mentality by blaming external circumstances for our unhappiness will make the good life an impossible goal to reach. We must refuse to let the hands we're dealt decide over our well-being. The Stoics say that outside events and other people may have the power to affect how and even whether you live, but they don't have the power to ruin your life. Only you yourself can ruin your life by getting jerked around by things you don't control and by failing to act as well as you're capable of. You must make sure that your happiness depends as little as possible on outside circumstances. Nature equipped us with the necessary tools to create a satisfactory life, no matter the hardships we face in life. So if we want to gain contentment, we must change ourselves and our desires. We cannot change the things that happen in the world around us. We can only change the way we look at those things and what we choose to make with them. Keep in mind that happiness depends more on what you make of what happens than what happens in the first place. No matter what happens to you, your mind is always available to turn it into good fortune by responding with your best self. Recognize that you're responsible to choose how to respond to situations. While the desired outcome can be prevented by external events, the process and your intentions are completed in the present moment and cannot be prevented by anything outside your control. As Epictetus said, if you want anything good, you must get it from yourself. Join us in embracing the timeless wisdom of Stoicism for a more fulfilling and harmonious life. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content on personal development and well-being. Let's cultivate a Stoic mindset together.